And we're live. Good evening, good morning, or good night. I want to thank you all for being here. I have three persons on my live and I have three likes. Um, all right, now today the topic is what can go wrong if you don't conserve before getting a solar power system. Some of us consider getting a high storm. Some of us consider getting a solar power system. However, we're not thinking about what could really go wrong. And we just get up and decide that we're going to spend the money to get that solar power system. There's nothing wrong in getting it. I have one too. However, there are some things that we need to consider. And considering them, it will tell you what can go wrong. All right, so let's start. As you may be aware, weeks after weeks I've been telling you, and if you're not aware, there are three types of system that you can get. You can get the off-grid, the grid-tied, or the hybrid. The off-grid is a standalone. You don't need a power company with the off-grid because you use batteries for those. And being off grid, you have this level of independence. It's a lovely feeling. The feeling of independence where I don't need to rely on anyone to get my form of electricity. It feels good. I would love to be at that point. I have considered being at that point sometimes, but there's a catch to that. Then you have the grid side, and I'm currently grid tied. And the grid side is where you're still having reliance on the power company. Hello, Antonio. Thank you for joining the live. Please leave the thumbs up. So you still have some form of reliance on the power company. However, um, the reliance that you have is dependent on you. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you very much, Antonio. Yes, so the reliance that you have on the power company is dependent on you. I'm seeing I'm seeing six thumbs up. Storm, are you seeing the six? Or you're seeing more than me? Anyway, so the reliance that you have on the power company is dependent on you. Now, another thing that you have, or another system that you have, is a hybrid. And with the hybrid, it's all right, thanks. With the hybrid, you have a cross. So you have the two systems. You have the off grid and you have the grid tied. And it's like both of them cross. So you have batteries and you're tied to the grid. So what will happen is at the at some point when you produce excess electricity, this is what you sell back to the power company, or you can decide if you don't want to sell. Persons have decided that they don't want to sell. Now, with all of those three systems, the choice will be dependent on you as to what it is that you want. Yes, off grid. The choice will be dependent on what you want. Actually, BMBS star, it's not morning, it's good evening or good night, as some persons would say. Once you reach 6 o'clock, I think they say good night. Right. So it will be dependent on you. Yes, we're speaking about the solar system. So it will be dependent on you as to what it is that you want. So the choice is yours. Blue give me. Yes, so the choice will be dependent on you as to what you want. So the choice will be dependent on you as to Storm. I'm changing something for you. Okay. All right. So the choice will be yours as to what it is that you want. So with all of this, the three choices that you have, you need to consider what really could go wrong before you can get this. Well, when you get this system, what can really go wrong? So let's look at it. Um, we're first going to look at some of the disadvantage, because the disadvantage as well can tell us what can go wrong when we have it. Now, one of the disadvantage is these things are unreliable. It can be unreliable, and I don't want you to have this 100% reliance on it, because you need to consider that because it is unreliable, or it may be unreliable, something can go wrong. And let me tell you about it being unreliable. No, no, no. Um, no BMDS Storm does not have a channel, and we don't do that on this live. What we do on this live is listen and participate. Understand? So, him, hello 4Js. Thank you very much for joining the live. We're speaking about what can go wrong with a solar system that you may have at home, or things that you need to consider prior to getting a solar system. Now, like I said, that the renewable energy, it can be unreliable, and renewable energy can come from panels or even the wind turbine. And the reason why it can be unreliable is because it is dependent on something. So take for instance, the panels are dependent on the sun, and the wind turbine is dependent on the wind. You can't guarantee you getting the sun all day. As a matter of fact, we know that we don't get the sun all day, but you can't guarantee getting the sun on a particular day. You can't. No, because you can't guarantee that. I have a number of persons in my on the chat. Could you please remember to leave the thumbs up? No. Hi 4Js, how are you? I'm fine. No, because you can't guarantee getting the sun all day of the week and for the entire day, because remember we have 24 hours in a day, and some part of it is going to be nighttime. Now, because of this, it remains unreliable. You may get up one morning and you don't have the sun to your advantage. You may have it being cloudy, or you may have rain, or in some instances, in thank you very much. In Some instances you have snow. Now, because you have all of this, this is what makes it unreliable. Now, at this point, I would have shown you the vlog with the wind turbine that was installed. One of my something that makes it unreliable for me is the fact that I don't have the wind 24 hours a day. So at some point, my wind turbine will stop spinning. Now, because of these are some of the things that I'm telling you about. It makes it unreliable. And think of it. If it is unreliable, it also means that you're either going to be reliant on batteries if you are off grid, or if if you have a system like me, it means that you're going to rely more on the power company. And that is what makes it unreliable. Yes, it has pros and cons. It does have pros and cons, Smart. Um, another disadvantage that you need to look out for, that makes it well, you need to be able to be mindful of, and you need to consider, because something can go wrong with it as well, is the huge upfront cost that you need to put into this system. And now, yes, you have. Hello, Mr. Editing King. Thank you for joining the live. Could you please remember to press the thumbs up, leave your like. Now, with that huge cost, let me tell you what can go wrong after. But let's speak about the cost that is associated with it before. Now, you need a system, and you're at home doing regular things that you're doing. You're watching your TV, you have your refrigerator on, you everything. Some of us don't conserve. So we'll have our chargers plugged in, we have the televisions plugged in, or fans, everything that we use is just normally left in. And then it is sucking this phantom electricity. Then you now decide that, hey, I want to go solar. With all of those inefficiencies that you have sat down and not tried to control, getting a solar system with all that inefficiencies will mean a higher cost for you. So that can go wrong. And let me explain to you again what can go wrong when you get it as well, because you have created this high because you have created this high um this inefficiency, and you already have it, and you're really used to this inefficiency. You pay a lot of money for this system. However, if you're using batteries, you're going to drain those batteries more often than even you require. So what is going to happen? The replacement of the batteries quickly. And replacing those batteries quickly, the batteries are a tidy sum. What they do, Smart, they must pay the bill. Yes, they must pay the bill, Storm. However, the problem is the cost that is associated with it after. Mr. Editing King and Forges, please remember to leave your thumbs up. Um, please remember to leave your thumbs up. Thank you very much. Now, with the high cost that you already paid for the system, and to be constantly maintaining it with these batteries that has this high cost as well, that can go wrong. So you need to conserve. If you don't conserve, even during the time or before you start getting that system, and even when you already have that system, then you're going, something can go wrong. And what can go wrong there is that you're constantly spending. Understand? You're constantly spending. Now, let's look at another disadvantage and see what really could go wrong with it. Another thing is it takes up a lot of space to install. And while that is a disadvantage, I'm going to tell you what can go wrong when you already have this system and it takes up that space. Now, it means that because we have these panels, I'm not talking about the wind turbine now, because we have the panels on our roof, sometimes the homes that we have, they're not huge, they're actually small. And having that small house, having that small house means if we already have those inefficiencies, we might hear from a supplier that they can't help us with the number of panels that we may need. And us requiring a number of panels may mean that the cost as well, while it is high, we don't have the space. So the system that we were able to get is so small, it really can't manage what we're doing at home or to even cover those inefficiencies that we created for ourselves. And that small system is based on the space that you have. Yes, possibly if you were conserving, you would really need some more, but because it really takes up a lot of space, that's a downside too. And in terms of what can go wrong when you have it, is that when you realize that the system that you got is not managing, you're pulling too much from the power company. Worse if it's a off-grid system. If it's an off-grid system, you're draining your batteries. And if it's a grid-tied system, you're pulling too much from the electricity company. And that was what you did not want. So that can go wrong as well. Understand? Is there any question before we continue? Anyone in the chat have any questions? Let me see. Right. So battery is the problem. No, Storm, but I wouldn't say. I want you to forgive the noise outside. The There's a house next door that is doing some construction. So if you hear the knocking, it's not here, it's next door. All right. Back to Storm's question. No, battery is not the problem. The problem is us not thinking about what really can go wrong when we have this system or before we get this system, and we're not conserving. So we're not conserving, and so far we see where it's allowing us to get a system that is bigger than what we really need because we are trying to cover these inefficiencies. And another reason is we don't have the space. We don't have the space to hold the number of panels that we need because of these inefficiencies. And the other one is we can't count on the sun all the time, or we can't count on the sun at all times, or the wind. So that's the problem. The battery alone is not the problem. By writing a storm, the problem is us. We're the problem. So unless we correct ourselves, we will continue to be the problem. Hello, cousin, how are you? Thank you for joining the live. I know you're understanding me because you speak English well. Please remember to leave your thumbs up. I wanted us to I'm fine as well. I wanted us to do a live as well. I know you're still here. Here, thank you for Jade. Cousins, I wanted us to do a live as well together because you teach English and I speak English fluently. Then it would be a great collab. So you can consider it one of the days. All right. Um, Now back to the topic that we were speaking of. In terms of those three things, Storm, the inefficiencies can be created so far. You don't have the space, and because you don't have the space and you already have all of these inefficiencies, it means that you need a bigger system. And if you get it grid tied, you're going to drain the batteries. And if you are not grid tied and you are sorry, if you're grid tied, it means you're going to rely more. You're going to be pulling more electricity from the power company. And if you are off grid, it means that you're going to drain your batteries quicker. And draining your batteries quicker, it means more reliance on um, getting more money really to buy more batteries. And the batteries are not cheap. Another thing that we spoke about was the unreliability of the sun or the wind. You can't really plan on it. So if say for a particular week we don't have any sun and you're grid tied for that particular week. If you don't have that battery strength, it means that probably between by 2 days your batteries will be fully drained. There's nothing there to charge those batteries, and then you have to now switch over to the power company to pull their electricity for your own household usage. And even in terms of you being right, so that would be for the off grid persons. Even in terms of you being grid tied, you don't get the sun, then there's nothing to really use during the day. Because for the grid tied persons, you really are supposed to use whatever electricity you want to consume during the day, and at nights you really cut it down. That's how you really save. So if you were to pull from the power company for that entire week, then you know you're going to get a bill, and that bill might be a tidy sum if you're not conserving. And we also spoke about, so we spoke about the space, we spoke about the climate, the unreliability of the climate, sun or the wind, and what else we had spoken about? Space and the money, right? And the money as well. So if you were to think of it as well, if you're not conserving, and you need a big system, because you need a system to cover your inefficiencies. Um, Storm is saying we can certain of the sun more than a breeze in our country, Storm. But remember that there are other persons out there who live in other countries that may have snow. They don't have the tropical climate like ourselves. And because they don't have it, then it poses a problem with them and the solar system that they would have. Sun must shine here. I know. Um, yeah, the sun will shine. The sun will shine. However, if you're looking on it like that, the sun is shining and you don't have the space to hold the panels. See that? And then you have some persons who don't want the panels on their roof. They don't want it. Some persons use them to their advantage by setting up probably a gazebo out of it, or a little shade area for the roof where they can go and relax. So persons treat this differently. It depends. it depends on who or what it is that they are going to really use these panels for. Some persons use it to make like a, it's like when you have an awning. Some persons use it like that. They really use it like that. All right. Now we're going on to another disadvantage, which we can consider what can go wrong, and it is the expensive cost for storage. Now, you may not see this as a disadvantage as to what may go wrong, but let me explain it to you. Now, you have a off-grid system, and the off-grid system needs batteries. Batteries need storage. You can't leave the batteries out there in the open air. You need to store it. What some persons do is they have a battery room. How many of us can have a battery room? You see the storage cost right there? Now, if we don't have a battery room, it also means building something that can store these batteries. At first, when I thought about going grid tied, my my plan was to get not a battery room, but build a build a storage box to hold my batteries. And the plan was with the storage box was it would double as a seating for outside and a storage area for my batteries. When I thought about it, I would have to build this storage box so secured that water would not get in. And then it has to be something that I create this cushioned area that if I'm relaxing or I want to sit under my tree, I will be able to go there and sit on that storage box. Now, this storage box, it would really cost me because, like I said, it had to be secured one so that someone on the outside wouldn't be able to come in and dismantle that and steal my batteries. That's one. So I would have to probably set up something on it, like a one of my CCTV cameras, so that I would be able to watch that box. Now, you see the costs? There are costs associated with it. Just that part, just to have that particular storage. Now the problem was, Cousins is saying clean energy is so necessary, but we need to develop this field here because it's still in very begging here in northeast of Brazil. Really, wow. Um, is it that I have a question though? Are you getting are you getting the sun or the wind to power this form of electricity? Hi JC. Um, it's actually good evening here because it's 6 in the evening. First time here. I know you're from the Philippines, and thank you for coming. Jamaicans, you see how much persons I have on my live that is not Jamaicans. Well, Storm is a Jamaican, and thank you, Storm, for being here every week. Yes, cousins. The question I was asking: Are you getting the wind or the sun to power it? What it is that is causing the development to be so slow in Brazil in terms of the solar? Is it the cost? For here, it's here in Jamaica, it's not as, how I must put it now, it's not as extensive as I would really want it to be. The problem that we are having here is the cost, and you find that those who can afford it are persons who have businesses. JC, please remember to leave your thumbs up. I see an additional thumbs up. I hope it's yours. Thank you very much. Yes, it's a cost here that we're having the problem with. And with that cost, some persons can't afford it. Thank you, JC. Yes, some persons can't afford it. So it makes it rather difficult for some of us to go solar. It's really it's really an how must put it now? It's really a dream for some of us here. Some of us, our dream can't come to that reality. While some of us conserve, we really can't afford this solar system as how we really wanted it to. We really want to go off grid, but we really can't afford it because it's really expensive. One battery here is, you're looking on $200,000 to $300,000. So it ranges between 200 to 300,000, and you can't use one battery. That's a problem. You can't use one battery. Nowadays, when they are quoting persons a system, it's 8 batteries, and think of it, eight times 8 times that, just call it 200, and it's not 200. Hi Ria, thank you for joining. I'm really happy to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Right. So the cost here is this is Smart Conservaria. I am fine. I am fine. I'm very fine. How are you? Yes, so the problem that we're having here is actually the cost. And if it's the same problem that persons in your country is having, then all right. So he's saying that all the devices are expensive. Exactly. The public electric supply is very cheap, in my opinion. It's cheap when you compare it to, well, not we don't have that luxury here. We don't. Here, it's not cheap. We have one of the most expensive electricity rates in the world. I think we were, for such a small country, or electricity rate is rather high. It's very high. Now, in terms of those devices, though, like you said earlier, clean energy, and they should probably what the government need to do is make it cheaper. I think I saw on someone's, he had showed a short video where they had the panels, where they had the panels on the, I think it was the internet. That's what he told me. It was a panel on the internet. I wasn't understanding how that entire thing worked, but I think because the earth should be moving, or persons should be moving along the line of clean energy, then we really should consider going solar. The government needs to buy in, or is buy in, where our government had said by 2030 a certain percentage of the country should be using renewable. I am not sure as to how they plan to do that, but that's the aim. So far now, yes, it is expensive for us. I have a I have a system that is grid tied, and with my grid tied system, it was the cheapest one. So I paid probably about um 10% of the cost of what a off-grid system would have cost me, about 10% of it. However, it means that I still relied on the power company. And in order to reduce my reliance on the power company, I have recently installed a wind turbine that I set up off grid. It's not at the point where I want it yet because it's going to need batteries. However, that's the aim, to take off the reliance of them. I need a level of independence. I need that feeling. It feels good when you're independent like that of them. So I do understand that the cost is high, but the cost is high all over. I guess the only way to make it cheaper is Brazil is going to foot some of the cost of making their own solar panels or making their own system. That's the only way it's going to be cheaper for persons, is if the country is going to make it themselves. Thanks for bringing this critical issue. We need to talk about it. Yeah, we do. We need to. They, and that is why the channel was created, so that persons not only get a system but also conserve. Because then we're doing quite a number of things that is encouraging our inefficiencies. And if we encourage our inefficiencies, that is what really makes the cost for us or for each person quite high. And unless we do that and try to control those inefficiencies, then whatever system we get is going to cost us a tidy sum. It will cost us a tidy sum. All right. The storage cost that I was speaking of is, like I said, for the battery space. You need to store these batteries somewhere. Now, what could go wrong if you don't consider it is your system requires multiple batteries and you don't have the space. In the country that I live, we find that persons really purchase, or we can really afford to purchase a home to just live in. So you find that sometimes, even if we should say to someone from another country, come and visit me, we don't have the space to accommodate them. So you find that sometimes some tourists comes to, or some persons from other countries like yourselves come to our country. Sometimes it's encouraged that they go to the hotels because we don't have the space. Jamaicans really don't have the space. They really try and accommodate relatives who live in other countries to come and sleep, you know, not in a comfortable position, but they will accommodate that. However, just think of it. If you can't even manage to let your own relative come and sleep comfortably, where are you going to find a space for batteries? You're not going to find a space for batteries. It's going to be on a bit, how much put it now? Almost impossible. There are some persons in our country who can afford a battery room or a room to store their batteries. However, when you really think about it, it means building somewhere for this. And I've seen persons build rooms for this, for the batteries. I don't have that space. I don't. And even if I'm to go that route to build something for the battery, it probably would be a box. I do have batteries. I have batteries running my fountain. I have batteries running my turtle pond. However, I have to find space to put these batteries. and putting them in a space where I don't like I like things to be concealed. So for the turtle pond, the batteries have to be outside. I have to be buying battery boxes for the turtle pond. I have to be buying a battery box for my fountain. Well, I have a big enough a big enough battery box that can hold the battery for the turtle pond and the one for the fountain. However, these things need space. If I didn't have the space, then I would not have had the turtle pond or I would not have had the fountain. So we have to think of these things before, because if you should when you get these system and you realize that the batteries that you have is insufficient, it might mean a bigger battery box, or it might mean, hey, we're thinking about an addition here. We have to think about an addition here. How many of us have the money to do that? Hi, Gina. uh, Gina is saying thanks for coming to her live stream yesterday. No problem, Gina. I'll be there once I have the time. I'll be at probably practically everybody's live stream once I have the time. And I do get notifications for all of the live streams that I've been on. Sometimes it's just that getting notification, I can't get to my phone, or I can't get to my laptop on time. So I will miss it. However, once I do get notification, I'll log on. So it's no problem. Storm Chaser is saying, when you look at it, everything takes money. Yes, it does. And it's the same thing that Cousins was talking about, that that's the problem. The money, it's expensive. And because it is expensive, Gina is saying, thank you so much. Your presence was really appreciated. And your presence is also appreciated as well. Thank you very much for coming. Very much. Yes, Storm. So that's a problem, the money. If we can reduce or if we can conserve in any way we can, then these things that can go wrong can be eliminated. So let's think of it. We spoke about the storage space. If we are able to conserve, there's a possibility that we might not need the off-grid system. There's a possibility that the grid tide can work for us. I've been telling the story over and over again, and I will always say it. When I was going grid tide, the gentleman who came here to do the test, he said, you know, you're not going to make any money off this, right? And the system is too small. No, I think telling me that my system was too small was honestly wrong, because what? He doesn't know how much I conserve. He doesn't. So therefore, him not knowing how much I conserve, you're telling me that my system is small. You don't know. And see there, my small system is making a dynamic statement, because with whatever conservation I have, my small system is working. It is working. I'm selling back more than I'm using. I'm selling back electricity to the power company more than I can use. So having a small system is no problem. It's no problem once you are conserving. Now, if we were to look back, the storage space, I don't have a problem with storage space, because I don't have that reliance on batteries. It's probably now when I have the wind turbine, I will have to sit and think about, because I do need more batteries for the wind turbine, but it will not be a lot, as if I was operating or running the entire house. It's not that quantity. It probably will be about two. And I have space so far for one. Another one will not be a big issue. So I have to consider, where am I going to put these two batteries? But in the interim, I do have the space for two batteries. I don't have to bill I don't have to bill a room for this. So I don't have a storage problem. I will not have a storage problem. Now, another thing is the space. I already have panels on my roof, and there's additional space on my roof. So if I decide to expand my panels, I can have that space. However, my only issue with my expansion is probably where to put it, where to put my panels, where to put the additional panels. I do have the space, but it's just finding the ideal location to really think about it. Thank you, cousin. Yes, I do have, and I'm going to I'm going to tackle that. He's saying that he's impressed about the knowledge I have about it. Um, I think most persons though are impressed as well as the for the knowledge that I have. And I must say, this is not the type of work I do. This is not the type of work that I do every day or 5 days a week. Sorry. It's not the type of work that I do. It's just something that I must put it down, that I love, and something that I think that can save the earth, something that I think that is beneficial to persons, and it can save the money in your pocket. My real reason for going solar is to save the money in my pocket. I I would say I love money. I don't like taking it out of my pocket. And for that reason, I try to conserve. You had also studied electricity in the past. I am self-taught. I'm self-taught, and I tend to watch. So some of the things that I do on my channel, I'll teach myself. So take for instance, I would couple weeks ago we did parallel and series of batteries. I did that. I taught myself that. I I pull up things. I fix things. I use the multimeter tester. I show other persons how to use the multimeter tester. And I think I do it so that they can not only learn, I speak to people especially as well about the inverter. Speaking to them about the inverter, it was when I realized that some persons are burning them up, and they do cost money, so burning them up will mean buying another one again. So I try to prevent things like those from happening. And because I see the inverters are as a powerful thing to have, an important thing to have, it prompted me to tell them about it. Things that I have on my channel or I do on my channel is all about conservation. So you may see me from time to time doing some gardening. You may see me from time to time doing even virtual gardening. I've done that just to grow my own food. So I will grow herbs in my virtual planter. And for all those persons out there, yes, it's possible. If the space is even small, I do have space that I can plant in the ground, but I wanted to cover a wall. So I did that vertical gardening thing, and it worked. I plant I like planting in flowers pots, and one of the reasons it is I do lazy person's gardening, and it may mean that when you plant in the soil, say I should plant in the soil. I have a planter box, and I was to plant in the soil in that planter box. I'm thinking now that if I plant in that planter box, if I plant say lettuce in that planter box, I can't put that lettuce there. I might have to plant peas. No, because I don't want so much lettuce, or I don't want um so much peas. I plant in flower spot. So if I take out some lettuce from out of this flower pot, I'm going to plant peas in there to put in back the nutrients. Can you employ, if I can use a multimeter? Yes, I can use a multimeter if that's what you're asking. I have done it on previous lives. And as a matter of fact, hello, Deepa, how are you? Thank you for coming to the live, and please remember to leave your thumbs up. Yes, you promised that you will be here, and I see that you're here. In terms of the multimeter, it is so strange that since week I was not at home. I had to work in another. It's actually, oh, it's good morning for you. It's good evening for me. And good morning if it's good morning for you, Deepa. Thank you for coming. Right. So since week, I remember seeing someone fixing, he was fixing a light. And I like to use the multimeter when I like to fix things here. I know how to use it. You know how to use it. I do too. And it you'll be surprised to know how many persons don't know how to use it. Deepa is saying it's 5:20 in the morning in India, and it's 6:51 p.m. here in Jamaica. So I thank you for coming to my live, waking up so early to come to my live. It means I need to wake up early as well to come to your live. All right. Right. So it was only since week I was speaking to someone who I saw him trying to fix the light. The light cord, it was corroded. So I told him, in order, because he cut it, and I said you can't use but that cord. He said that that's the only cord he had. So I said to him, okay, if you're going to use that cord, then you need to test it for continuity. He didn't even know what I was talking about. He didn't. I said to him, do you have a multimeter? He said yes. I know you don't understand me, Deepa, and thank you for enjoying my live. Right. So I asked him if he had a multimeter. He said yes. He got the multimeter. I showed him how to test for continuity. When we were testing the continuity, then the beeps were intermittent. So because the beeps were intermittent, then we had to continue cutting that wire until we find the area that was really good. It came down short, but he didn't have any more, and he had to use that cord. And he did use it. I wonder if he's listening to this live today. I hope he is. Anyway, the multimeter is something that some persons don't know how to use, and some persons have destroyed it, because I've had persons on my live. Thank you, Deepa. Deepa said that he's happy to see me the first time he's coming to my live. I know that for the multimeter, some persons have burnt it up because it is able to test electricity, and they have been putting it on the wrong section of the multimeter, and it just burned it. Quite a number of persons have lost some multimeter because of that. And it's not cheap here. The multimeters are not cheap here. I tend to use it only to test DC. I don't use it um putting it into AC current. I can if I want to, but I don't really use it for that. I don't really use it for that. So yeah, the persons use the multimeter here as well, but you only find that it's some categories of persons who really use that multimeter tester. Some persons don't. Some persons don't even know what it is for. They don't. Much more to even use it. So it's nice that you do fix things. I do fix things as well, and I like watching people fix things because when I watch people fix things, I learn. It is very cheap here, especially the Chinese ones. Um, Sometimes I like to use a brand when I'm purchasing things because I've had instances where when I buy some of the Chinese ones that don't last me long. And because it's something that is being constantly used, I like to buy a particular brand when I'm buying it because I want something to really last me long. So yeah, I will buy the Chinese things for some things, but I like to buy a brand for the equipment that I have or the equipment that I use. I do use a lot of equipment when I when I'm doing my work, or and it's not, I wouldn't say work because it's not something that I am able to get money off. I just do it because I like it. So I will use a lot of equipment. I will sit down and think about things that I need to get to do things or to get things done. I have had instances where I sit down and I think of converting an electric because I've done it. I've converted an electric fountain to a solar one. I like those challenges. I like to think about all of those things and what am I going to do. I do like solar lights, so then I will invest heavily in solar lights, or I'll invest in them just to get that illumination. And because I do like that, those are the things that I will show people on my channel. Everything on my channel, everything that you see from the music, the lights, the flame lights, the lights outside, even the little watermark, everything is from the channel. So the watermark will be the house that when it's night, the light is out and just the solar lights shining. The everything. Storm Chaser is saying he liked the wind turbine. I do too. However, I'm watching it. It's still under analysis. I'm trying to get another battery before this one reaches 6 months. However, I'm not aggressive with getting it. I'm trying to get it before the 6 months creep up on me because they say if you're adding another battery, it should be within the 6 months. Um, you use wind turbine there. We do have we do have a wind farm, cousins. We do have it. However, for the wind farm that we have, it was a bit disappointing to me because I thought that the wind farm would have taken it off. I know that Brazil is huge. I know that, but I can tell you, I have been introduced to the Brazil map. I don't know if you know a game that is called European Truck Simulator. So a simulator game is one where it goes real to life. And I was able to get the map of Brazil. Hello again, Deepa. I was able to get the map of Brazil on this truck for this truck simulation game. And I can tell you, if what is on that map or what is it that I'm passing when driving this truck, if all of that is in Brazil, it's a beautiful country because I'm seeing some things. I'm seeing solar farms. I'm seeing the roads are of different type. So I know how beautiful your country is. I've seen it. If the simulation is anything like what I'm seeing on that simulation game, if the real life is it, it's beautiful. I can tell you, it is beautiful. Guys, I normally have my live for an hour. It was lovely talking to you all. Unless you have any other question, I will stay for probably 10 minutes or so. However, if there's no more question, yes, yes, Deepa, goodbye. And thank you again for coming to my live. And for all those of you who are out there, if you do have any question on any solar issues or way that you can conserve, it doesn't have to be solar. It can also mean doing things yourself to save your money. If you have those tasks and you want to call me, thank you for coming to my live stream, cousins. Yes, I'll be at every live stream that I can manage to go to. Thank you very much, guys. I really enjoy this one. And cousins, remember, we need to speak. We need to be able to send some message out there. You have the capability of letting them understand English, and I speak it fluently. So if there's anything, and probably you need to teach me Portuguese. So thank you very much, guys, and please stay safe. And I'll see you either in your live or my live or in your comment box when I should comment on any vlog or any video or shorts. So I'll see you and thank you very much.